Welcome to the world's #1 fitness business podcast for health club owners, gym managers, and fitness entrepreneurs. As always, this will be a great show as we have another expert to help your fitness business and your career. We'd like to thank our premier sponsor, Active Management, for supporting us, and we highly recommend becoming a member of Active Management to strengthen your business in 2016. There are loads of resources members receive, so join the Active Tribe today at www.activemgmt.com.au. Now that's enough from me. Let's welcome the show's amazing host, Chantal. What's on this week's show?
Hi everyone, I am very excited about today's show because I've been sifting back through the last 20 shows to pick out the very best bits of advice, information and inspiration from some of the amazing women in fitness that we've had on as guests over the last few months. So rather than just having one guest this week, we have 3. And here's a little bit of a sneak peek of what you're going to hear. We start off with show 45 when An Coppens talks about how to engage members with gamification. Then from show 47, we have Mo Hagan from GoodLife Fitness and CanFit Pro, and she tells us what group exercise will look like in 2021. And last but not least, we've got Petra Kolber from Moving to Happiness. Petra appeared in show 53, and in this best bit, we tune in to when she's talking about the principles of goal setting. Before we go any further, I want to do a shout out to one of our fantastic sponsors, Visual Fitness Planner. If you're a health club owner and you haven't checked out the VFP, then you need to. So jump over to vfp.us for more information. Also, don't forget that during June and July, we have a very special birthday present for all of you from our wonderful friends at Active Management. If you haven't already claimed your gift, make sure you stay tuned right to the end of the show to hear what you need to do. But wait, one last thing. Each month, we like to award our most downloaded shows from the past month. And I like to keep you up to date with milestone downloads that our guests have reached. But as you also know, I'm disappearing for a little holiday. So this month, rather than announce them live on the show, you can find all of our award winners for June listed in the show notes in any of our July shows. That's over on fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Go on over and check them out. Okay, Tribe, let's get stuck into our Best Bits show, starting with our first guest, An Coppens, talking about gamification. Okay, let's talk about gamification within our businesses. I mean, if, say, for example, we set up a game within our business, within our fitness business, what would you say, can you put a percentage on how many members you would expect to participate in that game?
Right. So initially you want to appeal to the ones that you know are going to always do whatever you ask them to do, which is usually 10% of the people that you work with, in my view. And then with gamification, you can increase that between 20 and 40% more, which is for a lot of businesses exactly that tipping point that they need to get to in order to get really full out traction. So I would never, I suppose, promise to nudge it to 200 or 300% because that's not reality. Most of us gradually increase, and that's the same with gamification. If you set up a good solid game in your business, initially you have a few people trying it out. Then you'll have a few more. And it's the word of mouth and the sort of the buzz you create around the game that will get more and more people in. So it's important to also include that. So just launching a game won't make it successful. It's, that combination of the game, the buzz, people seeing other people achieve and saying, oh, I want a bit of that. And that's how you get a really good bit of traction. So build it up slowly, introduce different things at different times in order to get them to increase the participation. But if you start at 10% participation of those that are already there and look for 20 to 40%, that's a number that's achievable.
And are you able to give us any specific examples, say, within a fitness environment of how you can increase it? Because you mentioned things like word of mouth and stuff like that. Are there any examples that you might be able to give us on increasing the percentage?
Yeah. So if, for example, challenges are an interesting tool for attracting new members as well as getting your existing members to be engaged. So a challenge can be themed around something that is happening. So, for example, in London, one gym I used to go to had a London Triathlon Challenge. Mm-hmm. Now, the London Triathlon took place in the month of August, typically a month where most people are sort of in London, at least, on summer holidays, or it's a bit slow. So you need that extra bit of pull to do and achieve something. So the challenge was to get people to run, swim, and cycle on a regular basis and to record it. And in fact, you played against yourself really to be the best achiever in your own right. So that little bit quicker, that little bit further, you set your own goal. Or you could opt to compete against other club members, which some really fanatical people got to do. Mm-hmm. And, for me, it was my way back in because I had slipped in July and then went back in August. And I said, oh, yeah, triathlon challenge. That's exactly what I need to get started again. And it's that time just before school starts for most in the UK. So it worked really well, and it combined really well with people's lifestyle. Now, that time of the year is usually quiet. Mm-hmm. So what they achieved was that they had more members coming back in on a regular basis, because one of the things was that you had to complete it over a 4-week period, and you had to work out on those 3 items at least 2 every time you came. So either run and swim or run and cycle. So you had to do a bit of, I suppose, juggling to make sure that you hit the challenge. And that worked. You did have a higher percentage of people in the club. And then you also had fun because people won prizes. The biggest achievers won extra branded goods. So there was something in it for everyone. And when you participated, you also got encouragement by email on your membership account. So it was actually quite well organized and quite good fun. So the exact numbers, I honestly can't tell you. But at the same time, from perceiving what was happening in the gym, it did definitely cause more people to be there because you had to book in advance to take certain classes, etc. So it was harder to get your place in.
I think that's a great example because I'm sure that lots of our tribe can actually relate to that, given that those body transformation, those challenges are so big all around the world at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's say if you were in charge of setting up that particular experience for a member, it sounds like they had ticked a lot of the boxes and it was a great experience. Is there anything else that you would have added to maybe increase excitement or fun or even adherence for that particular fitness facility?
Yeah, I would have also leveled. So if I was a beginner, I would want to be paired up against beginners. If I was a bit more advanced, I would want to be in my league as such. So I would have had people opt into whatever level they felt they were sort of belonging to, and also have some personal trainers verify that was true so people couldn't cheat, because you will have that too. Any type of gameable system people will do. And then I would have organized some classes to specifically zone in on that. Now, they didn't do the organized classes. They did have very good personalized messaging. So, but to get started, that's what I would have definitely done, is say, hey, come and join the beginners group. We'll all start off together. You'll get to know new people, so that you're tapping into the social aspect of it as well. So I would have added that in as an extra, so people can opt to do it in a group, because we also know that if you have a buddy, you're more likely to actually stay doing it than whereas if you're doing it on your own, the motivation stops with your sports bag and you. So, it's easier to negotiate out than to stay going. So from that perspective, that's what I would have done. But the buzz was good. The buzz was active, and keeping that up takes a bit of effort. So if you're going to run a challenge, think it through from the start and then make sure that all of the team is totally behind it and, can totally message it through to your members. So that's from the girl at reception that welcomes people to posters in the dressing room to anything you say in messaging online to make people aware, hey, this is happening, and that people can check their progress and how they're doing in comparison to others, but mainly in comparison to themselves. So those are the key elements I would definitely encourage people to do. And actually, this year, 2016, is fabulous for challenges because you have the Olympics.
Yes, very good point. So coinciding with or riding off the back of the Olympics.
Absolutely. Olympics provide fantastic ground. You can pick any sport, any number of things. You can have an Olympic ring challenge. You can have, all sorts of analogies on, let's say, do you want to become the record holder? Do you want to become the champion? Do you want to become the bronze, the silver, the gold medalist? I mean, you can play with that. It's, for me, that's always great fun. It's a great year for fun.
Next up is Mo Hagan, and we pick up this chat when I asked her to look into her crystal ball and tell us what the world of fitness will look like in 2021.
I've got a couple of quick questions for you. Tell us, where do you think group fitness as a program will fit into a club's makeup?
It'll still be the heartbeat of a club. It just may be outside the four walls of a traditional group fitness studio.
And where do you see group fitness fitting into the programming puzzle with small group training, say in an average club?
Oh my, great question. I do believe, and I've believed this for at least a decade, that they will merge together or cross-pollinate, and they will fall under one leadership director's role and be together, small group, large group, and they will be managed by one group director.
Okay, same question, but swap out small group for personal training.
Oh my, I knew you were going to ask me that. This is the daring question. Having just returned from URSA convention in Orlando, Florida, of course, the industry's largest leadership event, I met a lot of people that are now the director of both departments. And I, first of all, said, good luck with that, because they're two different creatures and teams. But I do believe we might see, there'll definitely be more of a collaboration between departments. I do feel that they will be served by two separate leaders working very closely together and not in their separate silos as we see it today.
And will pre-choreographed classes still be popular? Or are we going to see the consumer scream, bring back freestyle and leg warmers?
Just like fashion, things that are old are new again. But I do believe that pre-choreography will be here to stay because it allows you to recruit, hire, and train people who become phenomenal instructors when given a lesson plan, just like great teachers in the education world. So I do believe it will always remain, but I believe that freestyle will ebb and flow within that to continually be a thread within it. So whether pre-choreography threads within the freestyle or freestyle threads within the pre-choreography, that will depend on the year, the demographic area, the part of the place or the places in the world, but the two will work together.
Do you think the model of having people pay extra to do group fitness is the way of the future, or is it keeping it bundled into our membership?
It can work both ways. It's going to depend on if you unbundle your membership fees to drop the price to join the club, then people will choose to pay extra to take part in group fitness because the entry fee was low enough to get them in the door and competitive enough to distinguish them between their competitors, but they will pay extra. I've seen it happen many times here in Canada and North America. But I do also believe that if your initiation or your dues to be part of that club are significantly higher than your competitors, then it will remain as a service offered as part of the membership.
And how about this? What classes will the baby boomers be flocking to in 2021?
5 years' time, they'll be doing mindful movement that focuses on strength, that is functional in nature, everything that relates to how they need to live independently and how they need to be strong for living longer. And it will be more of a mind, body feel. How does this make me feel versus just heart rate effect or losing weight or building this or that. It'll be how it makes them feel and how that ties into living their life.
I love how you describe that mindful movement. I like that. Will HIIT classes in 5 years be as popular as they are now?
Yes, I do, for many reasons. As much as I know that I feel people need to have a foundation level of strength to do an effective HIIT workout without, becoming injured at some point. I do think they need to remain, and they will if they're taught correctly and if they're introduced correctly to a HIIT workout. Because of the dreadful stats of obesity, we need that type of training to affect our physiology, to manage the changes to lose weight, and also to manage metabolism as we age. We need to kickstart our metabolic engines, and HIIT is proven in the research to help us accomplish that.
We already touched on virtual classes earlier. Do you think that we'll be seeing virtual classes in 5 years' time?
Yes, we will. And I do believe we'll see more than just fitness classes. We'll see the virtual space being used for meditation, sleeping, how to sleep. Speaking of sleeping, where the studio is blacked out and there's just music or there's imagery such as waves or beach landscapes. And you just go in there, lights out, and you just see that beautiful landscape and you relax for 30 minutes during your workday. So it'll be used for nutrition, lunchtime nutrition tune-ups. It'll be used for education on everything from what ails you to what you want to learn, like how to have a better golf swing. So the virtual platform will be used for everything, including group fitness.
Mo, what do you think the 2021 group fitness instructor will look like?
Wow, that's a great question. And I have to actually think about that. I know what I'd like to see. So I'm going to put out there to the universe the messages that I'm sharing with group fitness instructors around the world is the incredible power to influence through role modeling. And I'm becoming concerned about the type of role model instructor I am seeing in some places, whether that's certain areas in Canada or the world, that it's not necessarily the role model that motivates people to get into fitness. And I'm actually one of the few people I've heard lately talk about, I don't believe that a great role model is defined by age. I feel it's defined by ability. And the group fitness instructor of tomorrow will need to be well-educated, certified, qualified, a member of an organization or an association or profession, so that they feel like they belong to a professional body, so that they will show up and be a member of their profession, standing in that high quality of standard.
And last but not least, what is your top tip for our tribe on preparing themselves for 2021 group fitness?
Continually learn and add either a certificate or certification under your belt so that you have unique qualities to offer your place of employment, because the instructor of tomorrow will continue to be a specialist, but needs to have a variety of diversification. So what I mean by that is, and I saw this happen because of the love for certain programs where they want to teach all types of classes. It's important that you become an expert in 2 or 3 to offer yourself up as being diversified, but to be an expert in those 3 and to branch out beyond just the class. For example, if you teach a strength training class, understand nutrition in terms of what to eat before and after strength workouts, so you can help people get results and really change their physiology or their physique. So learn enough about nutrition to be a full service instructor and not just there for the hour or half hour you teach. Also be prepared to be flexible to teach back-to-back classes that are 20 minutes in length, 15 minutes in length, not necessarily one 60-minute class. And understand that it's more than just showing up for that class. It's about building relationships. So it's really about becoming a more holistic professional to serve others, to help them reach what it is that they want. And sometimes what they want isn't always what they need, and we need to understand the difference and help them with both.
Our final guest for the Best of the Girls series is Petra Kolber. Petra is the creator of Moving to Happiness. And in this segment, we talked about goal setting, how we can help our team with goals, and how we can carry them out. Now, Petra, I'd like to talk to you about goal setting. Do you think you could maybe start by reminding all of our tribe about the principles of goal setting?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I go back to my ACE, AFA, ACSM, all that, the thing I learned at that time about goal setting was SMART. Got to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-driven. But my whole thing about goal setting is a goal is just a goal, and it's going to stay a goal. It's never going to be reached until we tie our goals into our life plan, not just your business or fitness plan. So for me, my spin on that is, the goals have to tie into things that make you want to get up out of bed. Like Simon Sinek says, what is your why? If your goals don't tie into why you get up every morning, if they don't tie into what makes you want to jump and run to work, if they don't make you feel full of positivity, those goals are probably actually not something that's in alignment with your life. It's an idea that you've been told you should be thinking. Maybe it's a set of skills or something you believe that where you are in your career right now, well, this is a goal I should be doing. If you say should before or after any goal, I don't think that goal's for you. So my thought is, biggest thing is listen, sit with yourself, think about the goals you have right now and go, do these goals add breath into my life, or do these goals suck the life out of me?
And Petra, if we were then to say trying to apply those same principles to working with a team, is there any specific advice or tips that you can give us to maybe help our team members set goals who perhaps haven't set them in their life before or haven't maybe achieved what they've set out to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I think when we can tie the goals into their strengths, their passion, and their purpose, and there's a way to discover that, because many times if you were to sit a team member down or even a client, you go, okay, tell me about your passion, your purpose, and your strengths. They're going to be like scratching their head going, well, my God, if I could give you the list of everything I'm not good at. So there's 3 high-powered questions that you can use for yourself, for your clients, your team members. The question number 1 is, what is something in your past that you feel proud of? Now, the answer to that question is going to reveal your character strength. And if you're not sure what your character strength is, there's a great free online test that you can put into the show notes too, Chantel. It's viacharacter.org. Free online test. And what that does, or assessment, it allows you to remember and it reveals to you your innate strengths. Oftentimes, we don't recognize our strengths because they're a part of who we are, but we're really good at recognizing everything we're not good at. But when you sit back and you remember something that you feel proud about, more often than not, it's either you got yourself through a challenging time or you helped someone else get through that time. And when you do that, you've probably pulled on one of your top 5 character strengths. So when you think about that, maybe it's resilience. For me, it's always humor. It's a sense of love of learning. It's a sense of justice. You get to recognize what your strengths are. Second high-powered question is, what is something right now that lights you up? What is something that you love to do right now? And what that does, that question reveals to you your passion. For me, it could be going for dinner with friends. It might be reading a book. It might be traveling. And if you don't know what that is, I encourage you to take the time to find something that lights you up. Otherwise, why get up every morning? And then the third high-powered question is, what is something in your future that you are looking forward to 6 months to a year from now? Because what that question does is it reveals a sense of purpose. Again, that's your what drives you forward in life? What is important to you? Maybe it's being around to play with your grandkids. Maybe it's going for a trip to Greece somewhere with your girlfriends. Maybe it's going for a job interview. And then when you can set your goals that pull on the strengths from your past, draw on your passions of the present, and move you into a future of meaning and purpose, those are goals that you're going to want to stick to, because they're moving your life forward, not just your business forward, not just changing your body. It's life goals versus fitness goals.
I love those questions, Petra. And I think today one of my jobs is to jump onto that website, the viacharacter.org.
Yes, correct.
Go and check that out. And again, we will pop that in the show notes. So as a manager, once we have posed those questions, we're working with our team on setting those goals. Are there any other tips that you can give us on how we can actually help them then carry those out and achieve those goals?
Yeah. I mean, again, I would just check in. Once they have those goals, let's presume that they're in alignment with their current life situation. Because oftentimes we set goals, and I think oftentimes, especially in this industry, we're so A-plus, A-type personalities many times. We're really passionate about what we do, but we don't often leave room for that life. And sometimes life just gets in the way. So being a manager that really makes room for your employees' life to be a part of what's going on, and really listen actively. Oftentimes, I think we are so enthusiastic about being team leaders that we ask the question, and before the person we're even trying to help has answered, we already have the answer in our mind. I know I'm terrible at this. I will ask someone, how can I help you? And before they've even answered me, I'm like, oh, I know, we've got this plan and that plan and da-da-da-da. And I used to think I was an enthusiastic listener. In fact, I'm an impatient listener. And what it does is it's filling in the blanks for that person. So I think that one of the greatest skill sets we can acquire and strengthen and develop is active listening. Waiting for the full sentence to be completed, waiting for our business partner or our employee or whoever it is that we're working on to finish and pause. And if we can hold that space for them, because we're so busy trying to fix and be and do and help, but if we can just hold a space where whoever it is we're talking to can just be and reflect, and then we just honor that alone to me is a unique gift that you will be offering to the people around you.
Petra, I can completely relate to that situation, because I know since starting to host the Fitness Business Podcast, being a much better active listener is one of the skills that I've had to work on when I have the opportunity to speak to incredible people like you. And as a result, I feel as a result of honing in on that active listening skills, you take in so much more from the other person.
Yeah. And it's, people are not used to being listened to. And what I'd also, right now we're in this world where social media, it's like we're talking about it before, we're behind our screens, we're behind our phones. And if you can just not just listen to them, but be fully present, looking them in the eye, really being there, and wherever you are, be 100% all there. I think they're going to be almost stunned because we've become so used to being partially there, like partial attention. And it even might be a little uncomfortable for the person you're talking to because you become really comfortable with being disconnected. In fact, being disconnected has almost become a science. But if you can show up, and like you said, Chantal, really active listening, being fully present, that is a gift that people will remember, and they will remember you also.
Petra, quite often as fitness business owners, we can occasionally struggle to find new streams of income, secondary streams of income. Can I ask you this? How would you actually place positive psychology and helping members get results from goals as a profit center within our businesses?
Yeah. Great question. Here's the thing. I'm going to give some thoughts, but what is so amazing about this world, I'm kind of like contradicting what I just said. because of technology, you can create whatever you want with this information. Well, the starting place is you could do a coaching business around this. Again, really recognizing your barriers, your boundaries, what your skill set is. There are coaching certifications out there. And I think Australia actually, you are actually in the forefront of positive psychology. There's some great coaching places out there. So make sure you really know that. But even if coaching's not for you, I created Moving to Happiness. Look, they're like, I created something that didn't exist before. There was nothing, as far as I knew, that really took movement and applied up the positive psychology to moving the body. And listen, I was sitting in the white powder for a good 6 months. And I'm sure many of your listeners will know Jay Balanik, who was, a legend in our industry and now is working with Apple. And I called him up going, am I crazy? I'm looking for footprints. I don't know what's out there. And he goes, that's because you're in the white powder. You're creating the footprint. So I would say, don't be limited by what's already been done. Mm-hmm. Go back to those 3 questions. Go, how can I take my passion and maybe even create something new? Create a new way of moving, a new way of conversing, a new way of training, a new methodology that doesn't involve new equipment. It involves a new way of showing up. And I think, Chantal, to me, you might even just explode your current business. You might find, if you're thinking that you don't have enough clients or participants or whatever it is, I believe if you show up in this way on the gym floor, people are going to notice you. And it's not the workout. I'm now a gym member. I'm not teaching on a current basis right now because I'm working on my speaking skills. I'm writing a book. So I'm now a member, and I look around, not in judgment, but just in observation. And I notice the few trainers who, they know it. They know all the latest research, all the greatest workouts, but they're not present. They're not listening actively. So if you can just take this work, take the gratitude, looking at your clients in the eye, I think you could even expand your current business, because if you can show up and be fully present and show up with compassion and empathy, people are going to notice you. And it's not by being louder. It's about being present, quiet, not doing the work to get a reward, doing the work because you get to do it versus you have to do it. But then in terms of building a secondary business, the sky's the limit. Look at other people, how they are inspiring you. And I often say, sometimes look outside of the industry that you're in and get new ideas there. And then combine those ideas with the knowledge that you have and then the passion, and you can create whatever you want.
That is wonderful advice, Petra. And I think we in the fitness industry are so well placed to explore this concept of a secondary income stream for our businesses in the realm of positive psychology. So thank you for sharing those tips and advice with us.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
The new Active Management membership is perfect to help reduce your stress of running a fitness business with shortcuts, tools, and education all at your fingertips. You will be strengthened as a leader and a business with the new Active Management membership. To find out more, go to activemgmt.com.au and click on the big blue button that says you can be a member now. There are 4 packages to suit every budget and need.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast wrap.
Here are my top takeaways from this week's show. An Coppens said that if you're going to run a challenge, think it through from the start and make sure that your team is totally behind it. Do short challenges to get people started and try out at least 6 different ways to reach your members and clients via gamification. Mo Hagan said that the future for baby boomers will be all about mindful movement, how it makes them feel and how it ties into living their life. And Petra Kolber said, make sure that your goals align with your why and tie your goals into your strength, your passion, and your purpose. Tribe, to celebrate our 1-year birthday, our friends at Active Management are giving everyone a free business resource download valued at $100. To get your gift, simply head over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active. You can choose from one of 4 resources. Don't miss out. Jump on today. That's fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active. Tribe, next week it is the best of the boys, featuring Jeb Blunt, Adrian Antigua, Mike RC, and JT from Active Management. Thank you for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. I'm going to go rest my voice for a little while before it disappears completely. And I want you to remember that what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.